IHS is out with a new note today saying that the increase in the COVID-19 cases and also the number of deaths point to the rising risk of a W-shaped recession. And Rick, I'd love to get your take on this because it's interesting just in terms of what you're saying, what this could mean for President Trump here in just a few months when we head closer to the election.
Right. IHS Markit is a well-known forecasting firm, and this caught my eye because of the implications for the election in November. So they're not yet forecasting a W or a double dip recession. What they're saying is what we're seeing with the surge in cases in some of the southern states, the reclosings, if you will, and then at least a dozen other states have paused their reopenings. This is kind of how a double dip recession scenario would unfold, because as you have more cases, you have to shut down businesses again. That means you're going to have yet another pullback in spending. And we're going to have to kind of go through the process all over again. Now, that's not happening everywhere in the country yet, important to point out. But look, I mean, even in New Jersey, the governor there today said they were supposed to begin indoor dining on July 2nd, I think, and he canceled that indefinitely. So, based on what we know now, it looks as if April was the trough of this recession and that we are now in a recovery from that trough. But if we have more closings instead of more openings, we're going to get a second trough. And that is what IHS is pointing to here. And of course, that is, in a way, a worst case scenario for Trump, because really his only shot at this point, well, there are a couple ways he could win. Something could happen. Joe Biden could melt down in some way. But if there are no big surprises like that, Trump needs a recovery in the fall that really feels like a recovery, in many parts of the country. And he may not get it if we're still having increasing coronavirus cases and increasing hospitalizations and the shutdowns that requires.
Well, yeah, Rick, because I wanted to ask you what Trump could do in order to win back some of these potentially lost votes here in just a short amount of time. Is there anything else he could do besides the fact that if we don't see this pretty robust recovery, we do continue to see a rising number of cases? Is that almost the last straw at this point?
I feel like I've talked about this on air every day for the last 2 or 3 months. It's testing. It's a muscular, robust federal testing program, including the contact tracing. I mean, all the things that the public health experts say you need in order to contain the virus, which we just don't have. I mean, we have it sporadically in some states where governors and mayors have decided it's important. There's almost none of that in Texas, Florida. I mean, we hear that people are you can see it on TV and on the internet. I mean, these big mass gatherings, no one's wearing a mask, and everybody kind of blows it off by saying, yeah, but it's young people, they're healthier. Well, young people are ending up in the hospital now, and they're infecting other people who might not be as young and as healthy as they are. So that necessitates the kind of closures we're seeing. So Trump is not going to roll out any kind of testing program at this point, in my view. It would be an admission of failure. So he's going to try to he cares about image. He's going to try to make the case for why we are reopening the country and hope it's true. And if it's not, hope people believe it anyway.
And then, Rick, just going off that, just in terms of what Joe Biden has said over the last couple of months in the wake of this outbreak, he's getting a little bit more aggressive now. But do you expect that tone and that approach here to continue and even ramp up a little bit as we get closer to November?
I mean, it has to ramp up a little bit. I mean, he's only basically been to Delaware, and then sometimes he drives across the border to Pennsylvania and then goes back to Delaware. He probably has to visit a few more states than that. But I know that the Biden campaign is watching what's happening with Trump's poll numbers. They're watching his approval rating go down, and while Biden basically does nothing and kind of lets Trump trip over himself. So if Trump continues to do that, I think Biden is going to continue to run what is kind of a stealth campaign at this point. I mean, he is making appearances. There's some press, and he always has his black mask on. So, even when he's giving a talk and then he pulls it aside, but he's very conspicuous with his mask. And he's clearly making a statement that I'm a leader of caution and logic and reason. And I listen to the public health experts. And that's what you get it for if you vote for me. But you can also vote for this other thing, the guy who never wears a mask. So how Biden behaves in terms of his campaign depends on what happens with Trump.
Yeah, certainly does.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.